Didn't have anything good in the dumpsters at the store. I used to go up there and try to bring them some treats. All they had in there, they threw away a couple of cases of beer. So as you can see, I left a beer. I've never left beer before, but who knows, maybe they like it. As you can probably hear in the background, they are over there next door to here, getting ready to put in the subdivision. And technically this piece of land is not on that same piece of land where they're developing. So this will still be here, but I'm sure it's going to change the character of the woods, having a bunch of houses over there next door to it. It may impede my access to get back here, because I used to come in over there on that piece of property, and today I had to come in over here on this piece, come down the fields. This may end up not being a good spot after they start putting the houses in. But there's a whole bunch of woods back this way, so I'm sure they'll probably just move further back away from the houses. And even with all the leaves coming off the trees, this is still just a massive structure back here. It's still real good cover. creek. It comes out of a little pond up here. They sure are surveying back here. That's not a good sign. Unfortunately, I live in an area where a lot of woods around, but there's also a lot of development going on. Alright, here's an aggravating thing I see in a lot of daggum videos. Somebody will point over at something like that and say, oh, there he is, see the Sasquatch? And, you know, that's 50 feet away. So instead of saying, oh, that's a Sasquatch and wondering, let's walk over there. Oh, that's a unique thought. Oh, let's see, let's walk the other 50 feet and see what we really have. Oh God, I'm terrified. Oh no, what is it? Oh no, it's a Sasquatch. Oh no, it's a stump. Which I could tell anyway. But I see a lot of videos where people stand 40, 50 feet away from something and swear it's a Sasquatch, but they don't want to disturb them, so they don't walk over the other 50 feet. Alright, well, now you've seen somebody walk the other 50 feet. I'll probably just call this video, Walk the Other 50 Feet. Often I will get Sasquatch or get forest beings unaware. But if I see something and think, oh, what is that? I'm not so terrified that I won't walk the other few feet. Now, if I saw it stand up and get up and walk away, I might walk a little slower. But I would still try to walk over and show you what we were seeing. Too many videos where somebody stands at the edge of the woods, doesn't even go in the woods, just stands at the edge of the woods and tells you that's a Sasquatch. And first of all, Sasquatches are 8, 9, 10, 12 foot tall beings. So when you're pointing at something that's 4 foot tall or 3 foot tall on the ground, you may have something there. I'm not going to say you don't. But what you don't have is a Sasquatch. Unless it's a juvie, in quotes. I hear that all the time, juvie too. And they haven't got any idea that it's a Sasquatch, much less a juvenile Sasquatch that they got on video. But I don't understand how somebody can shoot video after video and never go in the woods. You know, I'm cautious about going in the woods, but I'm not scared. I don't think these beings want to hurt you any more than most of the other beings that live out here, like the coyotes and the foxes and the deer. That's interesting looking, isn't it? Okay, there's another dark shape in the woods. So let's walk the other 50 feet and see what it is. I'm getting closer. I'm getting closer. Okay, I'm about 30 feet away now. And it is a black misshapen blob of stump. But if I sat back 50 feet away from it, zoomed all the way back that way, and turned the phone this way, I could probably make that look like a Sasquatch. Especially if you have a predilection to seeing things where there is nothing. It's another thing I don't understand is why some people walk around videoing like this. The screens are set up for video like this, and when the video is turned this way, you can actually zoom in and see what the hell is on the video. But that may be the whole point of why they video that way, because that way they can claim that they got this and claim that they got that, because no one can zoom in close enough to tell what the hell they got. So, and I see videos where I know people actually do catch some of these forest beings on there, but I see an awful lot of pointing at rocks and stumps and black spaces and saying, oh, that's a Sasquatch. And then how somebody can look at from a distance of 50 or more feet and say that's a male Sasquatch or a female Sasquatch with 14 kids over there, and they're eating. You can see them eating. That amazes me. I catch some of these beings on video sometimes, but it's usually by accident. Very rarely do I see anything ahead of time. Sometimes I see areas of distortion where my eyes just can't bring whatever it is I'm looking at into focus. You know, it looks like it does on a hot summer day when you're looking at down a stretch of hot road and you see all the wavy stuff. I see that in the woods sometimes. And there have been times where I videoed an area like that and then saw stuff in the video that made me wonder if that's not them. I believe that they can cloak, whatever cloaking is. I don't think it's as magic or anything. I believe there's an explanation to cloaking. I'm not exactly sure what it is. But one day I believe we'll find out that that our ancient ancestors knew what they were talking about, that there are beings that live in the forest that aren't quite physical. They can't interact with our physical world, but they're not just a physical being like a fox or a bear. Alright, let me pause this so I don't shake you to death while I'm walking through the woods. Okay, one more thing that I want to point out that I see in a lot of videos. As human beings, we tend to follow the path of least resistance when we are in the woods. So given the choice of walking through there or walking down there where it's nice and open, we will walk down through where it's open. There's only one problem. That is the least likely place that you're going to find any other type of critter or being hiding in the woods. They're going to most likely be in the thick stuff. So when you're standing out here videoing around in the big open forest like this, you might accidentally walk up on something every once in a while. But if you want to know where they're hiding at, that is where they're hiding at. See this dense, thick brush over here? Now on a hot day they may not be as apt to be out here in this thick brush. But given a day like this, I can tell you from experience, there are very few, if any, deer bedding down over here in this part of the forest right now. There's probably some areas, you know, like where that thick brush is, they might be. But right over here in this field, I can guarantee you that there are 2 or 3 deer bedding down in that mess back there. And that would be the most likely place for another being or beings that didn't want to be found to be hiding too. So when you go out in the woods, I would pay way more attention to the areas that look like this with a real thick brush than I would these areas where it's wide open and you can walk. Now you may want to walk through these areas, but I see a lot of videos, man, where people walk through the open part of the forest because it's easy for them, and looking 50, 100 feet off, you know, in the dense brush around them, I see all kinds of interesting things, but they don't stop to zoom in on those areas. And they don't make an effort to really get over there and look. You know, I'm just saying, if I was the Sasquatch and somebody's walking through the woods and I was trying to stay hidden, I'd be over here in this stuff. Or maybe like in an area like that, hiding behind some brush like that. But not in the open areas. You're just wasting your time videoing areas like that, making people have vertigo with all the shaky video. Alright, I'm going to pause again and walk up a little bit further so I don't make you sick. Alright, again, that's a beautiful area for something to be hiding looking at you. So when you're walking through the woods, rather than looking over this direction where you're not very likely to find something hiding, I would look at an area like this. In the wintertime, any type of evergreen tree like these hollies, and we also have magnolias and pines. That is the kind of area where if I was some kind of critter trying to hide out here, that's where I would be. And then you see all those fall downs that are down in there. That's another sign that something, you know, could be putting up, you know, barriers, trying to make it hard to get into where they're at. And see again, now there's an area back there that's dark, and if somebody just points the camera like that, you know, that could, and it go, oh, see the Sasquatch sitting over there? Okay, well, let's see what's sitting over there. We're going to walk the other 50 feet. Okay, now we're up a little bit closer, and we can see that all the stuff that looked like it might have been a Sasquatch is roots and moss and shit hanging off the end of it. So often, if you would just walk the other 50 feet, if you think you got a Sasquatch on you and he's 40 or 50 feet away, take a few more steps over there. You might make whatever it is get up and move, which would be thrilling. But just to stand there with the phone turned this way so nobody can zoom in and claim over and over and over that you got a Sasquatch, and without ever taking the time to walk the hell over there. Alright, again, I like this area. You see this bent over tree here, and all these fall downs stacked up into trees. Let's zoom back out here a little bit. Just all kinds of stuff, and nice little hidey holes down in here. Thick brush to escape if they needed to. Alright, again, I will pause so I don't make you sick. Alright, another good example of a dark looking spot in the forest where I see people go, oh, yes, yes, there is a Sasquatch. See the Sasquatch? Okay, but let's go. Turn the camera the right way, zoom in, and walk the other 50 feet. Dum 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 dum. Look, it's a tire squatch. Oh, Well, glad we cleared that up. The notorious tire squatch. Okay, the sun's gonna mess me up here, but again, here's an area that's just prime. If something was trying to hide in these woods, would it be there? Might be there at nighttime, but during the daytime, over here, and this kind of stuff, this looks real interesting. You got these evergreen holly trees and pine trees. All kinds of stuff drug in or falling down to hide behind. Those are the areas that I find interesting. And I believe it pays off to investigate areas like this. And even if you can't see anything with your eyes, if you will zoom in with your camera and let it have a good long look, you may actually see something when you get back to the house. Alright, we're going to walk again so we won't make you sick walking. Let me stop the video. Okay, somebody was saying the other day that I never am on video, and that's because I find it really, really irritating to look at somebody's big fat head when I'm trying to watch a Sasquatch video. There are a lot of people I think are more interested in being the star of their own YouTube videos, but I will give you a glimpse of me. Okay, I have no idea if this is looking at me right or not, but there I am. And as you can see, yes, I'm a hippie. That's an old hippie. My glasses, I have to have my spectacles. So now you know what I look like, but I won't make you nauseous looking at my big fat head for the whole video. I'm not interested in being the star. I'm here to show you the woods and what I find in the woods. Alright, let me stop this so I don't make you sick while I'm walking. Okay, this is kind of interesting. I got a bunch of little trees all broke off right here where this creek crossing is. And again, this is a pretty good example. If you were a Sasquatch, would you be hiding over there? I know that you can see over that way a lot better as a human being. So our eyes tend to be drawn to the open spaces because we live in open spaces. But these beings in the forest are in areas like that where the brush is thick. They're up there hiding, looking at you, watching you, knowing that your vision is not very good and that you will likely walk right by them. They can sit right there in the woods and look at you and their face be in full view, and you won't see them because you're not used to looking for stuff in the woods. You don't count on it to survive like they do. And again, there's another dark area. People go, oh, it's a Sasquatch, but I can tell you right now, that's a stump in the root ball. So I'm not going to even walk the other 50 feet over there. I will just guarantee you that's not a Sasquatch. Real pretty back here. Alright, I've got to jump the creek, so I'm going to shut this off so I don't make you sick. Alright, be quiet. We might have some Sasquatch over here. Look at that dark spot in the woods. Up, let's walk the other 50 feet. In this case, maybe 20 feet. And it is, the notorious tire squatch. Oh, you better be careful of those tire squatch. Okay, any of you that have watched my videos in the past know that I talk about the nesting area. And this little patch of woods right over here is where that nesting area is. It ends right up here beside this field, and it juts out from this large area of woods back here. And there's just, hundreds of acres of woods back behind me, going all the way down to a larger creek that flows down there in the bottom. But that is pretty much where that area is that I go in, where the nesting area is. And I've seen this before, that they will pick an area like this that's really not that deep in the woods, and they'll just put all kinds of structure or take advantage of structure that's already up there to hide around in during the day. Because I think they like to observe us. And I've seen it often where they will pick an area where they're not really that far back in the woods, but they're pretty well hidden. And they will hang in an area like that, and I believe they're voyeurs. I believe they love to look at us. That is why it's not a totally fruitless thing to walk along the edge of the woods, videoing into the woods. At times I believe you can actually catch them down in there, but I get a little bit aggravated watching videos of people that's their whole thing. That's their spiel, is to stand at the edge of the woods like they're scared, even though they tell you how much these Sasquatch love them. They seem to be afraid to go into the woods with them. And you know, if I see something down in there and it looks like, you know, it might really be something, I will walk the other 50 feet to see what it is. I don't often video it if I walked over there and there wasn't anything. But to stand back here with the camera zoomed all the way out and go, oh, see that dark spot there? That's my friend Rory. He's a male Sasquatch with 14 youngins. You can see he's chewing his big toes right now, chewing the nail off his toe. And there's old Leroy. He's got his finger up his nose right now. I get a little tired of that sometimes. Anyway, but you know, I'm not saying there's no point in going up to the edge of the woods, especially if you're getting ready to go into the woods, and stopping and videoing before you go down there, and just see if there's not something there waiting for you. And again, I don't know how well this is showing up on the camera, but I can see pretty much that whole tree structure that I video a lot in my videos back up in there. But during the you know, summer and spring and fall, before the leaves fall off the trees, that is just, you can't see anything back in those woods. So something can sit up in there and, you know, hide amongst all that falling down vegetation. I stayed over here this spring, right back, here's the nest, and right back over in this area, it's an area where some pine trees meet the old growth forest, some younger pines, and I pitched a tent right over there this spring and stayed out here for 10 days. And I'm gonna tell you the truth, I heard some crazy stuff at night. And some of it was just the coyotes and the foxes, but I heard noises that didn't sound like foxes and coyotes. It sounded like two bipedal somethings running through the woods, screaming, making the most god-awful noises you ever heard. And they never messed with me in my tent, but I could sure hear them over here making a ruckus. Trees breaking and snapping, and that's what turned me on to this nesting area, and was staying back here with it. And I just now, I really believe this is an area they hang out in. I don't know if it will be after they get through building the subdivision next door. This land will still be forested, but I don't know if this will be too close to the houses for them or not. Anyway, see that area back there with that real thick brush that stays green? You know, that's a perfect place for these guys to be hiding during the day. You get into a thick area like that. I've gone into little areas like that where there's little tunnels all back in there, and you can tell, you know, critters get back in there. That'd be just a great place to hold up during the day. Unseen, unnoticed. Alright. Well, I hope you enjoyed it. Have a good one.